go on with the chart. Now, here's the situation with the chart problem. We have two classes of kids. The probability in class 1 that somebody likes math the best is 0.6. In class 2, it's 0.4. That's how you interpret this chart, okay? So question number 1 says, suppose I pick a kid out of class 1 and a kid out of class 2. What's the probability that they will both like math? So in other words, probability of math and math. Okay? Well,
0.6.
I did have it. I found it.
Oh, good. How come it was ripped out?
I don't know. Probably because I was trying to check my answer.
Okay. Yeah, that's right, maybe. Okay, so what's the probability the first kid likes math? 0.6. And, which means times, the second one likes math. So the answer to the problem is 0.24. Now, what is the probability of first liking math and the second liking science? 0.6 times, what's science? 0.2. So 0.12. So those of you that say, I don't know how to do this, I hope you're paying attention. It's really easy. What's the probability that neither will like art?
81%.
So no art and no art. Okay, so out of chart 1, 0.9. How did I get 0.9? That's everybody but art, right? And, which is times, in the second one, also 0.9. So the answer is 0.81.
Good job, John.
Thank you.
Decimal or percent, or fraction, anything can be fine. Now, what is the probability that one will like science and the other will like English? Okay, now be careful on this one, because that could be science and English, or English and science. Do you understand that? It says I want one of each, but I don't care which class they come out of. So I have to consider both situations. Do you understand? Science and English, okay, or English and science. Now let's do this one first. Science would be, I'm looking at class 1. Science is 0.1, and English from class 2, so that would be 0.03. Science and English would be 0.03. Now, what about English and science?
0.3 times
0.2 times 0.2, which would be 0.04. Now, what do I do with those two numbers? Add them. So the answer to that is 0.07. All right? Now, number 15. We didn't get to that one yesterday, did we? Number 15?
We did get to 14. We stopped at 14.
Okay, so 15. This is a Venn diagram, which is all set up for you. All you have to do is fill in the numbers. Now, look at number 14. It says the probability of A is 0.7. Do I put 0.7 right there? No. No, no, no. The probability of B is 0.5, and the probability of A and B is 0.3. Where do I start in my Venn diagram? In the middle. So I put a 0.3 right there. That's the A and the B. Now I can put a number here, because what do I know about this whole A circle?
It's 3 plus.
It's 0.7. So the whole thing is 0.7, so that's got to be 0.4. The whole B is 0.5, so this has got to be 0.2. You with me?
Yeah.
Now, these are probabilities. What should these add up to?
100.
They don't. So what does that mean?
We got 0.1 on the
We got an
outside.
extra 0.1 on the outside. So thinking about it in terms of what you guys came up with the other day, if these are, this is the people who like peanut butter, and these are the people who like jelly, then these are the people that don't like peanut. question A. What does this mean in question A? It says, what's the probability of A upside down U, B with a little apostrophe mark? That means A but not B. You are in A, but you are not in B. You like peanut butter, but you don't like jelly. What is that? 0.4. That's these folks right here. They're in the A circle, but they don't belong in the B circle. What does the second one mean? They don't like either. You don't like peanut butter and you don't like jelly. So where are you? You're here. That's 0.1. Not. Yep. Not.
Can you please do 14?
I'm working my way up to that. Would you be patient? Now, 14 says we are going to calculate this by hand. Now, you need to know the formula for that, which we've talked about, and you should know. Who remembers the formula for 8C5? Jack?
On the top, like, numerator would be like 8 times 7 times 6 times.
So it would be 8 factorial.
Yeah, that. And then it would be 5 factorial and 3 factorial.
Perfect. So on the top goes this number factorial. On the bottom goes two things.
Yes.
The two things that go on the bottom are this number factorial and the difference factorial. So now, if we have to multiply this out, if we have to come up with an answer to this, like Jack said, 8 factorial means this. That is what 8 factorial means. 5 factorial means this, and 3 factorial means this. What is going to happen every single time you do one of these problems? A whole bunch of stuff is going to cancel. Everything from the 5 on cancels here. And what is 3 times 2 times 1? So that will cancel with the 6. Lo and behold, what's your answer? 56. Suzanne?
Yeah, sorry.
Your hair is absolutely gorgeous. Okay? Right now, it does not need your attention. This needs your attention. Okay? I know, if I had beautiful hair like that, I'd be messing with it too. But we just didn't.
Ms. Ford, stop. Stop.
Okay, now let's look at practice test 2.
This is good. How is the 6 canceled out?
What?
How is the 6?
Because 3 times 2 times 1 is 6. Okay, so I'm looking at practice test 2. Let's turn first to the back page, or to the second page, look at number 14. Actually, I think we better let's just do this whole page. Let's start with number 12. So I am on practice test 2. Everybody find practice test 2. And I'm starting with problem number 12. All right? Is everybody paying attention? 2x plus 3y to the 4th power.
I got you.
Now, this is one of the long ones, right? This is the one we have spread all out, got a whole bunch of numbers in it. How do we start?
The tree.
We go to Pascal's triangle, and I'm going to go ahead and write that down over here. Make sure you know how to build this. We start with a 1 and a 1 at the top. Then we start with a 1, end with a 1. and we add these two together. The next number goes in between these two, it'll be a 2, right? Start with a 1, end with a 1. Now in between these two will be a 3 and a 3. Start with a 1, end with a 1. What goes here? 4, 6, 4. That's all the farther I'm going to go because this is to the 4th power. That means 4th row. So then I'm going to write down those numbers. So I'm going to write down my 1, 4, 6, 4, 1. What's next? Fill in the variables. So next to each of the numbers you just wrote, there are going to be 2 parentheses. In the parentheses will go what in this problem? 2x, 3y. One of those goes next to every number. So 2x and 3y next to every single one of those numbers you wrote down. Good. Next, the exponents. That couldn't be easier. We start with 4 on the x, right? And go down. So 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then what? Same thing on the y's, go in the opposite direction. Now, depending on how smushed your problem is, you probably should try to squeeze in plus signs to separate each of these terms, because you're going to simplify the term individually. In other words, you're going to look at this right here and you're going to simplify it. Anything to the 0 power is 1. So what do I have right here?
2x. Oh, 16x.
16x to the 4th. Kids, I told you to put these things in parentheses because the power has to go with both of them. You've got to remind yourself, everything goes to the 4th. All right, now this is going to be a little more complicated. Now I'm doing this term. I have a 4. What do I have here? 8x cubed and 3y. So I have a 4, an 8, and a 3. 96 x cubed y. Did I times right? I think so. Next. All right, what am I going to have here? Got a 6. What's this going to be? 4x squared. What's this going to be? 9y squared. Okay, somebody help me with the calculator. Is that 216?
Yes.
X squared, y squared. Try the next one on your own. Can you simplify this term? Try it. What'd you get? I think it's 216 again. 216 xy cubed. How did we get 216? What did I multiply? I multiplied my 4 times my 2 times by 27. And what about our very last term? What's it? 81y. There's a lot of room for error there, isn't there? You have to be really careful. Okay? Now, I'm gonna find just one term of this expansion. Gang, could we do this problem exactly like we just did this one? Yes. But I don't want that would give me the whole thing. I don't want the whole thing, I want only the fifth term. So like in this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be just this number right here. I only want that one piece. Now, will the piece still have a coefficient, a power of 2x and a power of 3y, or a power of x and a power of negative 2y? Yes. Every piece is still going to have a coefficient, a power of x, and a power of negative 2y. Just like we did up here, 3 components. The number, the 2x and the 3y. The number, the x, and the negative 2y. Am I making sense? So we just need to figure out what that number is and what these exponents are. That's all we have to figure out.
It would be like 8C4.
It's going to be 8C something because in the row, which by the way, if you were going to use the triangle, you need the 8th row, right? The first number would be 8C8, 8C7, 8C6, 8C5, 8C4. That is the fifth coefficient. Because remember, these numbers are the C numbers for that row. So this is 4C4, 4C3, 4C2, 4C1, 4C0. It's just easier with the little rows to write it out than it is to go through all that stuff. But for this 8th row, we're just going to count down, and that is our coefficient, 8C4. What is 8C4? Yeah, the value. 70. So my coefficient is 70. And now all I have to do is figure out my exponents. If I were writing out the whole row, what would be the power on this guy in the first term? If I were writing out the whole row, my x exponent would be, no, if I wrote out the whole row, the first x exponent would be 8. So here, the x exponent would be 8. 7, 6, 5, 4. So my x exponent is 4, which means my y exponent is also 4 because the exponents have to add up to that every time. So we figured out our coefficient was 70, and now we know our exponents are both 4. So we're going to simplify this. Is this answer going to be positive or negative? Positive. Because when you take a negative to an even power, it becomes positive, right? So I have 70, x to the 4. What's this? 16y to the 4. So now I got to multiply 70 times 16. What do I get? 1,120. X to the 4th, y to the 4th is our final answer. Kayla, you paying attention, sweetheart?
Sort of. Losing my train of thought.
Okay, we'll try to stay focused. Okay, these take up so much room, I need to do some erasing. Anybody have a question about that? Okay, you have 2 options for getting these coefficients. What are your 2 options? Where do those coefficients come from? They either come from the triangle, right?
Yeah.
Or what's my other option? the C numbers. Okay, you gotta have a coefficient for every single one of these problems. You're gonna have a coefficients. You're gonna build the triangle, or you're gonna do the C numbers. So if we were going to the 6th power, if this was my problem, if this were a 6, then I would either need the 6th row of the triangle, or I would need what? 6C6, 6C5, 6C4, and so on, if I were going to the 6th power. Maya?
Is there don't we know if you know how to put those into the calculator, like the C?
What? Oh. We've talked about that a zillion times. Somebody back there can show you. Okay, now number 14. How do we calculate a P by hand? That has a formula too. Anybody remember what it is? If we had 9C5, we just talked about that one, so we should remember. If we had 9C5, what would that be? 9 factorial over 5 factorial, 4 factorial. What about the P? Anybody remember the P formula? The top is the same. It's 9 factorial. The bottom only has one number in it. For the P, the bottom only has one number in it. And the number in the bottom is 4 factorial. Where did I get the 4? Just the difference. Just the difference. So this would be the setup. Let me do another one, make sure you've got it. What if we had 7P3? 7P3 would be 7 factorial over 4 factorial. 8P6. 8 factorial over 2 factorial. Be careful. What about 10C3? Watch, it's a C now. 10 factorial, 7 factorial, 3 factorial. The C's have 2 things in the bottom. The P's have only the difference in the bottom. So if I'm doing 20P17, it would be 20 factorial over 3 factorial. The C's have 2 things in the bottom. The P's have only the difference in the bottom. So this is the question on the paper. If you're going to calculate that, it would be 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 over 4, 3, 2, 1. And that would be the answer. Now, I'm not going to give you one that big to do by hand, but this would be the answer, whatever all those things are times each other. That's a lot of multiplying. I'm not going to make you do that, but. Okay. Hey, Bryce, need to go to the office?
No.
Okay, what do you need to do? Sit up? We're getting just too comfortable there. All right, fill in your Venn diagram in 15. See if you can fill that in all by yourself. Fill in your Venn diagram. Got it done, Katie?
Yeah,
Where'd you start?
I put an A to put 0.65.
Right here? Okay, now, let's talk about that. Our temptation is to put 0.65 there because it says the probability of A is 0.65. But what's wrong with that?
Put it in the middle.
You gotta put the middle in first, because 0.65 is not just this section, it is the whole circle, Katie. So we fill in the middle first, which would be 0.55.
Yeah. Oh, I put 0.55.
Okay, then if the whole circle is 0.65,
0.10.
get 0.10, that's what goes there. Now, what's gonna go here? 0.25, because the whole circle is 0.8. Now, what do these add up to?
90.
90, so we're still short, so that goes here. Now we can answer the questions. What does A mean? I don't want to be in A, but I do want to be in B. So I like jelly, but not peanut butter. So where am I? Right here. 0.25. What does this mean? I don't like either one of them. So that would be N.
How did you get the 25?
0.8 minus
The
1.
whole B circle is 0.8.
Yeah.
What's 0.8 minus 0.55?
That's what's left over. All those add up to 0.8.
These add up to only 0.9. They should add up to 100, or 1. They should add up to 1. On what? Okay, what part confuses you? Okay, in the center right here goes 0.55. It tells me that in the problem. So this whole circle is 0.65. If 0.55 of it is already there, then this has to be the other 0.1. This whole circle is 0.8. 0.8 minus 0.55 is 0.25. These two have to add up to 0.8. Abby, the whole B circle is 0.8. Now, these three are supposed to add up to 1. They don't. They only add up to 0.9. So there's an extra 0.1 that's outside the circle. All right, now, we can either do the chart problems in number 16, or we can go back to the first page.
First page. First.
Okay, so you will be responsible for the chart. We're not going to get to that. And we'll just get as much of the front done as we can. Number one.
It's practice 2, homework tonight.
No, I'm going to change the homework. Number one. How many different sandwiches are possible? Actually, I may have to finish it like that. How many different sandwiches are possible if there are 3 kinds of bread, 2 kinds of meat, and 4 kinds of cheese?
24.
You gotta have a bread, a meat, and a cheese. Jabron said 24. How did you get that, Jabron?
3 times 2 times 4.
Yep, and you multiplied because when I make a sandwich, I gotta pick bread and meat and cheese. What does an and tell me is a mathematician? Multiply. How many breads are there? There aren't 7 breads. There are 3 breads, 2 meats, and 4 cheeses. Multiply them together, that's the answer. Number 2, in how many ways can 10 different chairs be arranged in a row? 10 factorial.
Wow, that's a big number.
Katie Thomas, now you're doing your hair. What is with the hair?
I'm looking at
Prom season, gotta look good.
Except these girls already look good. They don't.
Oh.
In how many
It's a
ways
stop.
can you answer 5 multiple choice questions? Here are your 5 questions, and each of them has 4 options. How many options does question 1 have? 4. And question 2 has 4.
4 to the 5th.
So the answer is 4 to the 5th. Each question can be answered 4 ways. Now I have 12 kids, and I am going to give away 4 identical markers. How many ways can I do that?
12C4.
Well, it's 12P4 or 12C4. Which one would be appropriate?
12C4.
C. Why is C the answer? Because there's no order, because the prizes are identical. If the prizes are the same, then we don't care. Who's first? If I were giving away a red marker, a blue marker, a black marker, and a purple marker, then it would be 12P4.
Wait, just rewind real quick.
How many 10-letter words can be formed from the letters of toothpaste? How do I start?
10 factorial divided by.
Okay, wait, stop. Where did you get 10 factorial?
There's 10 letters.
Because there's 10 letters. So the first thing we do is count up how many letters we have. We have 10. So we start with 10 factorial. Then what do we have to do?
Divided by the.
Divide by anything that's repeated. So I see 2 O's,
2 T's.
Oh, 3.
3 T's. Is there anything else?
No.
All right, I want to type this one in because some of us are still missing this when we type it in.
Don't be.
Would you type it? Thank you, Kaylin. Say it louder.
Parentheses.
Parentheses. We need parentheses whenever we have 2 things in the bottom, 2 or more. So let's type it in, make sure we all get the same answer. The answer you got should be 302,400.
400.
Miss Ford?
Yep.
Is answering 10 factorial the same thing? No, 10 factorial over 6 factorial the same thing as typing that?
No,
No.
no. Because 10 factorial over, okay, what this would be is 10 factorial over 2 times 1 times 3 times 2 times 1. If you tried to combine those, which you never can, factorials don't combine, but if you did, it would give you this. You see how they're different? They're not the same thing, yeah. You can never combine factorials. All right, last one. How many ways can 5 people be seated around a dining room table? 4 factorial. When we have 5 people and we're putting them in a circle, it's 4 factorial. Because when we do a circle, it's always 1 less factorial. Okay? Anytime there's a circle, it's 1 less. Around a dining room table. It's still, you're still sitting around. All right, so what do you have left to do? Your homework tonight is to finish this. So you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then